favorites. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to the HHH Racing Podcast, episode 429 of Picks and Ponies. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz. Thanks for joining us tonight. It is Breeders' Cup time, ladies and gentlemen. I know you're like, wait a minute, Howard. It's still 5 weeks away. Oh, no. The preview stakes have already begun. There's preps all over the place. They started last week, and they hit absolutely the top of the top this weekend. Major stakes going on this weekend and next weekend for the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar at the end of October, early November. And tonight we're going to cover all the Breeders' Cup preps in New York at Aqueduct. Baby got back. Here we go. Major stake races. Field sizes, not so big, but very important races. We'll see who gets in, and we'll see how some of these horses fare as they get ready and cranked up for the Breeders' Cup. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, notification bell on the top right, and smash that like button below the video player. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. You can follow us on X at HHH Racing Pod. Very important announcement about Weekend Warriors. I'm going to save that. We've got a big live show this Saturday. We've got a great website as well, hhhracingpodcast.com. We also have an excellent tip sheet. I'm going to save that as well. So I'm going to write that down to remind myself to talk about Weekend Warriors and our Keeneland only power picks, which already are on sale. We've had many people purchase them because Keeneland starts next weekend. Oh my. But tonight, we're here to talk about Aqueduct, the Belmont Aqueduct, and big stake races there. Before I bring on my co-host, let's see who is in the chat. We got Terry is ready to go. Katie is always ready to go. Tom Espinoza from the Bay is ready. From the West Coast, Sylvain, what's up, everyone? How are you doing from Canada? We got a lot of people here. Appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and get started right away. So tonight, just to let everyone know, one of our trusty co-hosts, Paul Halloran, is working his high school football announcing job at his school that he announces for. He will not be with us tonight. However, we've got our other wonderful co-host from the East Coast of Maryland. Let's bring him on right now, Mr. Pete Visco. Pete, how are you doing tonight?
I'm fantastic. How are you, my friend?
We're doing good. We got big races. I already teased the fact that, okay, some of these races don't have big fields. Apparently, and I have not had a chance to go on see the news tonight, really. I've been quite busy. But apparently I think I got this text from you, or it's in our feed, that one of the races on Saturday might have only not 5, not 4, but 3 horses. Is that right?
Yes, that's what it's. The Woodward was going to be down to, well, it's 3 good horses, but that does not make for a fun betting proposition or necessarily, those results in those kind of races can always be so funky when the fields are really tiny like that. So who knows what we'll glean from it, but it is what it is. Yeah, I think they were like 4 of the horses are maybe going to their cross-entered races, which just kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we'll get into that a little bit. Oh, look who's here. Patrick Hunzel wants to hear Paul's touchdown call. Patrick, I'm sure we can find that, right? I mean, on YouTube. I'm sure we can find out what Paul says when someone scores a touchdown.
Just hopefully he doesn't rant for the whole broadcast. That's, we don't want to, cursing about coaches or something, or the play calling or whatever the case may be.
Probably wouldn't be appropriate. Look at the bottom of the screen. Jackson turned 14 yesterday.
14
is that right?
Yesterday. Thank you, Katie, very much. I will relay that to him. Yeah, I know. It feels like he was just a baby when I started on here with you guys. But, yep, now he's a 14-year-old man with, mustache hair and
really
stuff like. Well, yeah, he's Italian, so we hairy up quickly. Yeah, we
early. All right. Yeah. Very excited. Wow, he's being in high school next year? That is crazy.
Yeah, eighth grade. Yeah, he's in 8th grade right now. So next year he will be. Yeah, that's what I meant. He's 8th grade. Amazing. It's all of a sudden it goes by so quickly.
That is crazy. Total side note is, well, let's see. Look who's here. Here's a name I don't think I've seen. Abraham Mendez. What's Abraham? Peaceful Beach in
Pismo
the
Beach.
house.
Nice.
Nice. Where's Peaceful Beach, Abraham? Do you know where that is? I'm not sure where that is. Okay. He's going to be at Santa Anita tomorrow, by the way, Abraham. Abraham, thanks for joining the show.
California, I know that much, but I don't
know. We love our West Coast
Yeah.
viewers. Thanks for watching. And by the way, I didn't even announce this out to our wonderful talent that we have on the show, Pete, but it sort of made a bit of an executive decision yesterday as the Breeders' Cup prep season's coming up. Breeders' Cup, we are back on X. Our shows are back on X, including this one right now as we speak.
Oh, good.
We are on X, and of course, we prefer people watching on our YouTube channel, but we are on our X channel as well, which you can see right there, my name tag at HH Racing, at HHH Racing Pod. Okay, more Central California, according to Thomas Espinosa, where Abraham is from. All right, let's get into these stake races, Pete. Again, this is not a sequence, right? We're not covering a pick 5, but there are 5 stake races. Races 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9 are the 5 races we are covering in New York this Saturday. Breeders' Cup implications, I suppose. I mean, that's for the eye of the beholder, I suppose. But no, beholder's not running, but it's in the eye of the beholder. We shall see. Let's go ahead.
I think a couple of the horses could at least there should be some that are in the races, whether they're contenders or not. I guess maybe we'll get to that as we talk about each race.
I think so. Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Sorry, the Belmont Turf Sprint Stakes. Grade 3, race 4 kicks off the stake races at Aqueduct. 2:07 Eastern. It's 6 furlongs on the outer turf. $200,000 the purse. This is a field of 7. Acoustic Avenue is in main track only. And Pete, I didn't bring it up. I'm just reading what it says on the screen. Speaking of main track and turf, they got some rain in New York today, but it's going to clear up by tomorrow morning. It's going to be very nice the rest of the weekend. My guess is the turf could be good. I don't think it's going to be like rock hard firm at all on Saturday, but it should be just fine. Pretty fair, I would say, for most turf horses. Morning line favorite here is the number 5, 26 Black. Talented New York bred in really good form for Horatio De Paz and Flavian, who's going to be riding in New York as usual all weekend. Let's see where Pete and myself are going in the first Breeders' Cup race we're going to talk about. I'm going 5-4-3. Pete is also going 5-4. He's going 5-4-7. Let's Paul on there because if you're interested in Paul's picks, purchase our Power Pick tip sheet, and Paul's picks will be on there. Look below the video player through Patreon for our Power Picks tip sheet, which is very popular. We're both going to go 5-4, Pete, and chalking it out with 26 Black, who, like I said, is in really good form for DePaz and Pratt.
Yeah, that was sort of my thinking. I mean, the only question, and I don't know how you think about this, but you look at a horse that picked up Pratt 2 races back in the Troy and lost to a horse, Bring the Band Home, who was just in raging form. I mean, just from like a buyer perspective, not that that's everything, but just a horse who popped all of a sudden out of the blue, just became a monster. And this horse ran second to that one and then came back in the Disco Partner and ran a really nice race and, started to get the buyer figures are a little bit improved. The time form figures are improved. The trip is a little bit, last time was able to sort of sit close, relatively close, mid-pack off a slow pace. 2 back, was a little further back and was still able to close. So I think just the form, getting Pratt again, does have 4 wins at the distance, but the last 2 races were at 5.5. So I looked at that and said, hey, is the 5.5 maybe better and the 6? But he does have 4 wins going 6, so maybe that's not an issue at all. So I don't know. I went more with form and the fact that this horse has run well both times with Pratt and just seems to be trending in the right direction.
I don't know if he's Breeders' Cup nominated. I'm guessing that he is not. They also, when they decide who gets in these races, it's for graded stakes earnings. I don't think he has enough graded stakes earnings to even get into the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint if he wanted to, and he's probably more of a 5.5, 6 furlong animal. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is I don't think this one will be in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint based on some of the nice horses that are going to be in there. But this is right now probably the best sprinter on the East Coast, along with Bring the Band Home and some others. So he's good. He's no sure thing. You see a lot of blue-coated figures there, Pete. So he's gotten relatively soft trips, but I don't think this is a killer field whatsoever. We both have the number 4, Allegan, who's very honest. Again, he's a nice horse. I don't say he's no superstar. Dylan is riding for a Lard, excuse me.
Yeah, his problem seems to be, and if you, I mean, you don't have to do it on here, but looking back at his last few, he always runs the same race and he runs well. But a horse who's either on the lead or gets the jump on him tends to beat him. So my question was, okay, is that going to happen again? Or is one of these times where, like last out, he was closer, but he couldn't run down? I forget if Doncho was on the lead. Let me look real quick, actually. Yeah, I remember Doncho was on the lead. So I don't know if there's going to be a horse ahead of him this time. And we both like the 5, who I think just from running style could be coming. Maybe this horse gets the jump and can finally get a win. But yeah, from a time form standpoint, he looks like he's going to be sort of sitting right off the 2. The 2's a weird horse. I don't know if we were going to talk about that horse. The 2 used to be speed. So it looks like speed, I guess, if you take a cumulative look, which I assume time form does. But the 2 is 7 now. The last 2 races, and one was a while ago, but the last 2, the speed wasn't there necessarily. So I'm wondering if we're even going to get the speed from the 2. What do you think about this one? This is just a horse that used to be really good, and I just don't know now, right?
Yeah, I don't really like him in this spot. I just I think.
Do you even think though he's a speed threat though, just based on the last couple?
Considering the field and Carmouche, I mean, you got to believe so, right?
You would think so, right?
Who else is going to go? I mean,
but I thought that last time too. I think because I feel like we might have talked about that race, and it was.
Someone's got to have the lead here. I would assume this is a dead send for Carmouche.
I think that's the only way he could win. I imagine, right?
Yeah, and I suppose he can win on the lead. I mean, he's certainly done it before. If that last race was just he needed one.
Yeah.
In fact, just thinking it through, I think I might upgrade him just a little bit. I don't love 7-year-olds here in this spot, but this is not a strong field.
No, not at all. Yeah,
not a strong field. We'll see what happens. They are going. Yeah, they're going 6. So the 6 furlong turf sprints, Pete. I don't feel like speed plays nearly as well as maybe the 5, or definitely not the 5, but even the 5.5. So we'll see. But we're both going to go with 26 black in a race that should not have Breeders' Cup implications. The major sprint, turf sprint, will be next weekend in the. Is that going to be the Shakertown? I always get the spring and the fall names confused.
I never know the names. Yeah.
Anyway, the turf sprint at Keeneland should be loaded.
Yeah.
And I actually looked at because I'm going to be at Keeneland the first 2 weekends actually, which I'm really excited about for different reasons. But I looked at the stake nominations, Pete, and as usual, no surprise, they are loaded. Speaking of which, actually, there's a little bit of news we should mention. Brian Hernandez, of course, is injured. Flavian Pratt is going to be riding Torpedo Anna in the stake race at Keeneland actually next weekend. So that'll be Flavian Pratt. Brian Hernandez is going to try to make it back for the Breeders' Cup, which would be amazing, Pete. Initially the diagnosis was 6 weeks. The Breeders' Cup's 5 weeks out. These guys are rock solid athletes.
But he had some rough injuries, man. That
he does. They're a little worried about they're not worried about the ribs that'll heal. They're a little worried about I think his spleen and being vulnerable to that coming back so quickly. So we wish Brian Hernandez a lot of a good health there. And of course, we all know the Paco story, who they're going to appeal, but as of right now, he is out for 6 months, which depending on who you ask, people are not really too disappointed about that. But he has some big mounts in California that we talked about last night on Great Race Plays, which made its fall 2025 debut with myself and Paul and Ryan Anderson and Gino Piccola. We talked about that as well. So anyway, very interesting to see what happens with the riding assignments there. Let's go on to the next race. Now this race, Pete, this race has some Breeders' Cup horses in it.
Yeah.
Race 5. Yeah. Race 5 is a big time race with a big time horse. It is the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. This is a win and you're in. It is a grade 1, very small field of 5, but I'll tell you what, Pete, I would make the argument it's probably 3 of the best 5 domestic long distance turf horses in redistricting, Rebel Red and Farbridge, and then add to that. Let's see. Oh yeah, 2 Alvey horses, one who's just a complete superstar in Rebel's Romance, and the other one is a horse that won at Saratoga in the Sword Dancer, El Cordobez. So it's a small field, but I would say pretty elite field of 5, and they're going for $500,000. The purse, like I said, is $500,000. It's a mile and a half on the turf. Of course, there's the field. Rebels Romance, Pete, even money. By the way, Bake Frenzy and Legree are MTOs. They will not be running, as the turf will be just fine on Saturday. Pete, no surprise what we're doing here. Oh, wait. We're not going to Rebels Romance?
Yeah,
it is a little
look
bit
at
of
us,
surprise.
right in the same order, too. That's surprising.
We are riding the El Cordobez train. We're both going 1-3-2. Going to try to beat Rebels Romance. Now, Pete, the first obvious question as host of the show to someone who's not picking Rebels Romance is the following. Are we just trying to be cheeky, as the lads would say, or do we really think El Cordobez could be that good?
I usually try not to be cheeky. I'm definitely not the cheeky sort of handicapper.
No.
But I think, in all honesty, I think you could make very, very I mean, this isn't saying anything outlandish. You could make very, very logical cases for each of the 3. I was just taking the shot with El Cordobez that, hey, he came over and I just thought looked really good. And I thought that was a nice debut. And I think you and I both liked that horse in that race as well. So
big cash for me in the contest.
Day. So that was, I just think maybe he comes over, and if that race was any indication of where he is, and then if he can move forward off that, I feel like at least for a one race, he's on the same level with Rebels Romance. Now, he's not on the same level as him in terms of what he's done historically and all of his accomplishments. Obviously not. But I think at least this horse, he's hopefully getting closer, and you're going to get him at maybe a couple, 2-3 times the price. So if that works out, and if he does improve, and if he is on that same level, we just don't know it yet, then maybe you're getting a little bit of value here too.
Well, here's El Cordobez, and Rebel Red, the 2 here, ran a monster race, Pete.
Yeah.
Ran right with him at a moment I thought he was going to go by, but then class prevailed. El Cordobez got an absolutely fantastic ride. Farbridge made an early move, and it was a pretty hot pace, and really was not a factor. He was the 6th there in this stretch. Johnny V is now riding this horse. He's on the come. He is absolutely improving.
Likes the mile and a half too. He 3 for 5 wins, 5 for 5 in the money. So he likes it once he's gotten here.
I'm assuming he's going to the Breeders' Cup. I haven't heard that he wouldn't be going. I would assume that he is. I mean, the obvious horse to beat there is Rebels Romance. I've always thought he was a little bit overrated, but you know what? As he continues to win and do well, I'm just wrong.
I mean, 14 million, 19 out of 28 wins. What else do you want?
The thing is, he hasn't won some of the top-notch races in Europe. Like he's gone to Germany. He's been in the Middle East and won some nice races there. But he's won the Breeders' Cup. But so I guess that's a stupid comment. But I've never thought he was like one of the best Euros ever.
I agree with you. I'm more messing with you, but I agree with you. I don't think of him as like an all-timer, even though accomplishment-wise, he's pretty. I mean, he's as good as we've seen in terms of sort of longevity and quality over a long period of time. And
no doubt about it.
See that very often where he hasn't taken a step. He might have taken a touch of a step back, but not much. I mean, he's still competing and running in high quality races, and he's a threat every time you see him in the race. So, I mean, what else can you ask for from a 7-year-old who's already earned you 14 million? I mean, he's won 9 out of 12 the last 2 years. So what else? Honestly, what else could you ask for from a horse like this?
Nothing. This is exactly the kind of horse you'd want to own and love. I mean, you got to have a ton of respect for this guy. 19 for 28, Pete. When you're a long distance turf horse and you don't have like a specific style, he's not like a need the lead. He's not a dead closer. He can do just about anything. So go 19 for 28 in a lot of Group 1s is an incredible record. This is just a win machine. Now, that all being said, as we lauded his praises, he doesn't have to win this race. This is clearly a prep, right? I mean, and I guess you could say it's a prep for El Cordobez, but he still has more to prove, in my opinion. I see a very slow pace here, Pete. none of these horses want to be like 100% taxed going into the Breeders' Cup, and they're going to be sprinting for home. This is very much a jockey's race to me. Whoever gets the better trip. I mean, Rebels Romance is going to be, forget even money. He's going to be 3 to 5. I think El Cordoba is probably 5 to 2 ish. And so I think that's how it's going to shake down. But it's going to be trip dependent. But just, Rebels Romance is the horse to beat for sure.
Can I give you the one interesting stat? I put it in our text thread today.
Yeah. Tell everyone about it.
If you saw it, but so it was funny because Charlie Appleby horses in Grade 1 races, in races that are covered by DRF formulator, so not including sort of the European races and stuff. In Grade 1 races without William Buick or Flavian Pratt, he's 0 for 11 in the last 5 years on the win end, 6 for 11 in the money. I just thought that was really interesting because neither of these horses has either Buick or Pratt, as Pratt decided to go with the 2 redistricting, who I assume we're going to talk about right now.
Yeah, if one of the athletes is going to lose, it's probably redistricting. I suppose you could say it's Farbridge. To me, redistricting is more likely. And the reason I think he's more likely to beat these two is he's more likely, in my opinion, to be on the lead. Flavian could certainly send. Look, this is not a Chad Brown monster. I mean, he's a real nice horse. He's had his issues. He only has 10 lifetime starts as a 5-year-old. He's beaten some good horses. He hasn't, won like a major race, but I suppose there's still upside. And clearly, Chad is pointing here, Pete. I would be pretty shocked if Flavian's not sending out of the gate and this one doesn't have a lead.
Yeah, I actually thought about putting him on top, if not, not because I think he's the best horse, but because in a small field like this with Pratt, I feel like this is the kind of race that Pratt can steal with a horse who does have some speed. And that was the only reason. Now, I went against it because I figure one of the other two will probably sit close enough and be able to make a move and get to him before he sort of kicks away. At least that's what I imagine is going to happen. But he's just in really good form in the last 2. But like you said, no offense to our Crownsway folks and Kyle Roscoe, but beating Otago is a little easier than beating Rebels Romance and El Cordobes in this one. So
not much, though.
Not much, but just a touch. But I mean, he was pretty big favorites in the last 2. And again, the United Nations had okay horses, not top notch, not like Breeders' Cup contending kind of horses. So, but I do think if he won on the lead because of Pratt just got a great trip and was able to just sort of wrestle the race away from the field, that wouldn't shock me just because it's, because it's Pratt and this horse does have speed. I'm not a Farbridge. I saw Sylvain, I think Farbridge. I love Farbridge as a horse. I just don't know about him here. I don't know if he could beat the top-notch horses.
I'd love to get more cute than one of the Applebees. I'm going to push back a little bit on something you said. I would be shocked if one of these Applebees didn't win, to be very honest. And one of the main reasons, Pete, is you hit the nail on the head. They're not going to let redistricting get away. Now, it might be slow.
I think in that one race,
they're not going to be far back.
Was it Silver Knot?
And they're just better animals.
Who was it? Was it Silver Knot or one of those races where we're all of a sudden the horse got on the lead, or was it Farbridge who did it? And that one actually it was Farbridge against Silver Knot and measured time. So. Remember, we just got on the lead and you're watching it going, what the hell are they doing? Why is no one attacking this horse? That was the only scenario I could think of.
My issue is just I think these athletes are just much more superior. I know the buyers don't necessarily say it, but the time form does, and it's just my feel. So we'll see. I'd be curious to see if redistricting goes to the Breeders' Cup Classic, if he wins this race, or if Rebel Red goes, or Farbridge goes.
Honestly, if all 5 were in there, it wouldn't shock you, right? Depending upon who comes over.
I don't think they're all going to get in, I think, is the issue, because there's going to be some serious Euros coming that have more grade stakes earnings, Pete. So I think El Cordobas will be, I don't know. We'll see. Rebels Romance for sure will be in the Breeders' Cup. Will be one of the favorites, actually, in the Breeders' Cup turf, assuming he comes out of this race well. So anyway, it's going to be interesting to see. I just like seeing these top-class Euros run, Pete. I just want to make a mention, everyone, that Pete did pick 2 Euro Trash 1-2.
I love you. I love
he ain't no dummy, Pete Visco.
I love to say Euro Trash, but it doesn't affect me from actually picking them when I think they're going to win the race.
There you go.
I'm not full stupid, just partially stupid.
Let's go to the Woodward, Pete. Now, this is the race and you have more intel than I do, I think, so I'll let you talk about it. Right now, the Woodward, which is a win in your in, it's the two-turn older male race for the Breeders' Cup preps. It's $300,000. They're going a mile and an eighth, relatively short run into that first turn at Aqueduct. Right now, it's a field of 7, and the more line favorite is the number 7, Locked, a very talented horse that's been a little bit inconsistent and has been off since for the last few months. But Pletcher is bringing Locked back with Johnny V 9-5, and then Phileas Fogg for Carmouche 2-1 is the number 6 horse. And then you have some others that we will talk about. Pete, let me leave this on screen. As of the information, again, we're filming here Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. As far as you know, Pete, give everyone the 411 on who is most likely not to run here.
Yeah, I'm looking at there was a tweet from David Grenning from DRF, and it said, if what connections are telling me holds true, Saturday's Grade 2 Woodward will be a 3-horse field. Phileas Fogg, Locked, and Post Time. All other entrants will run elsewhere. And you can see all of them are cross-entered, so that means we'd be losing Awesome Aaron, Willie Dees, Film Star, and Gould's Gold.
Yep, and I'm not sure where they're all cross-centered. I think I saw Delaware for
yeah,
some.
It was all over the place.
Willie Dees is cross-centered at Churchill. I know that. I just well, anyway, I don't want to go on a rant. I don't understand it. I don't get it. But I don't think this is really that difficult spot for a Breeders' Cup prep. I mean, there's no monsters in this race at all. So
no.
I'll be curious to see what happens. Here's our picks, assuming they're all in. I'm going 6, 7, 4. And Pete, look at this. Wow, we are simpatico so far tonight.
Yeah.
Pete's going 6, 7, 2. I have a very strong opinion. I hope this race holds together, Pete.
Why don't you go first? Yeah, you go first on this one.
It doesn't sound like it's going to hold together. My general opinion, if it holds together, I am completely against Locked here. And you know I've been a Locked fan. I picked him when he went to Santa Anita. I picked him before. I picked him in the Cigar Mile when he won on this show. I'm a huge fan of Locked. I do not like the 2 races that he's run recently. And I don't love a workout I've seen. And I know workouts are workouts, but let's take a look at it. We'll go to Locked first, even though Locked is my second choice. He will be in this race. He ran 2 very mediocre races for him in his last 2. The Alashiba, which I was there for, Pete, on Derby weekend, he was awful. I have no idea what happened.
Yep.
I loved him that race against Fiercest and Most Wanted. He was just awful. There's really no way to say it. And then in Suburban, again, he just didn't really fire. He was up relatively close to a relatively fast pace, but just was completely done in the lane after running, 4 blinders really in a row before that. Now, Pletcher has decided to rest him up for this, Pete, and I have way too much respect for Pletcher not to think that he's ready. But I saw a work where he was working. He's worked, by the way, recently. Get this. He's worked with Antiquarian and Fierceness. So obviously
they're decent.
Yeah, they're decent. My issue is I don't really love the works that I saw. He was getting outworked in both of those. He was really ass. He worked again. Now Fierceness is very good. Like, duh. Okay, we know that. Fine. And you could say, well, Howard Locked is not Fierceness anyway. He's not that good. Okay, fine. He was working with Fierceness, Pete, and I don't know who was riding him in the workout. He was like whipping this horse to keep up to Fierceness. Now, maybe Locked is not a Morning Glory. Okay, he's the favorite. He's coming off of 2 bad races. I know they're 96s, but for this level, I just don't like the vibe. I guess if you like Locked, and he could win this race, obviously, whether it's a field of 7 or not. I just don't like the vibe here. But if you like him, you got to figure that Pletcher wouldn't run him if he wasn't ready. Number 1. Number 2, Pete, I mean, they could retire. I mean, there's a lot of things they could do. But Pletcher is not the kind of guy that likes to embarrass himself. Neither is Eclipse Partners. So maybe I'm reading this completely wrong. I've got him second out of respect to his back class. I just don't like the vibe here, but we'll see.
No, I sort of agree with you. I mean, I think his best race can obviously beats this field, most likely. I think his best race is probably better than everyone else in this field. I don't know if that's really saying anything too outlandish, but we just don't expect to get it. And I mean, maybe he just lost the form. I mean, he was, like you said, from October through March, he ran those 4 straight races, and those were pretty much bangers right there.
Absolutely.
Then he was off for a little bit, came back, and has just been sluggish in the 2. The works, there's okay works on the tab, but nothing crazy. So you just want to look at it and go, did somehow, for whatever reason, he just lost who he was, or he was just really good. You know, we've seen horses many times. They're really good for a stretch, and then they're not again, and it just goes away.
Yeah.
And you don't know why. You don't know when it's going to happen, but it seems like it might have happened here. And do you want to take under 2-1 on a horse that you don't trust the form, and you don't trust that he's just where he used to be, even though that wasn't that long ago? I think that's what sucks you in. You're like, it's not like that was last year. It was only X amount of months ago.
Plus, he's only 4. He's a gun runner.
Yeah.
Like, if this horse runs a 107, makes me look stupid. I wouldn't be surprised at all. That's why I've got him second. I mean, obviously, he's capable of winning. Like I said, I hope it's at full field. I really like Phileas Fogg here a lot. I've always thought he was a little bit. He used to be a need the lead type, obviously. Pete, he's learned to rate and finish. I mean, he almost won the Pimlico Special in a heartbreaking loss when I picked him that day. He won the Suburban on the lead, and it was a legitimate race, beating Antiquarian. Look what Antiquarian's come back doing. We know the Jockey Gold Cup last time was weird with the incident with Mindframe, but he just sat off a rabbit, and he went on and ran very well. He did get beat by Antiquarian and Sierra Leone, who are going to be, I don't know, second or third choice and 6th choice in the Breeders' Cup Classic. I mean, there's none of these horses here. He's really good. He's got a month between starts. He's working well. He is the speed, in my opinion, depending on who else runs. I mean, the only other real speed in the race is Willie Dees. And Willie Dees, as you can see right there, he's entered at Churchill. We don't know where he's going. The other speed, I guess, is Film Star. He's entered at Delaware. So if it's just locked Phileas Fogg, and who was it, Post Time?
Post Time, yeah.
Post
Time's going to be in the back. Yeah.
Post Time will be last in that situation.
Yeah.
Locked won't be that far back just because the pace won't be that fast. But I mean, Phileas Fogg, if it's just those 3, is absolutely loose he wants to be, and he's pretty damn good. I have no interest betting a 3-horse field, Pete, if it turns out that way. So we shall see. I've got Film Star if he runs here in 3rd. He's just in really good form right now for Atras, and you've got Post Time, who is in the race, a Maryland bred. Pete, I like this horse a lot. I actually bet him in the Breeders' Cup dirt mile last year, and I didn't like the ride by Russell. I thought he was too far back. I just never thought this was a distance horse. I just don't think he's best at a 1.125. I know we see some good 1.125 races. And again, the field size will matter a lot. I just think he's better at a mile, and the connections just seem very stuck on trying to get him to win a big 2-turn race. I just don't think that's who he is.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I think against a certain level of competition, he's just not the horse who wins those races. He winds up, when you put him against a little bit lesser, he reminds me a little bit of like Skippy Longstocking, where Skippy Longstocking is awesome when he's against horses he's better than. And then when he's in the fields against the top horses, he's a notch below. But I mean, he's 19 out of 20, so he never runs a bad race. He just, I mean, even 2 back, he just sort of got stuck way too far back against a good field. But he doesn't run a bad race, and obviously he's going to hit the board here if it's only those 3. So he'll keep his streak alive.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me write that down.
Yeah, write that down. I'm going to say
Post Time will hit the board.
Yeah,
but it's a 3-horse field.
It's a 3-horse field. But I mean, I think I just don't look at him as a win contender unless some crazy stuff happens on the top. But I like Phileas Fogg with you. I think he's a horse who can get on the lead and is in really good form right now.
I hope Jackson is as smart as you are, Pete. I mean, he's going to be
it is,
genius.
I pass those genes on. Yeah, I pass those. Hopefully I pass those, the brains on.
Or maybe we just hope he gets that from his brains from his mother, perhaps. I don't know. Anyway.
Just not math. Just not.
Okay. Oh, really? Well, I can help her with that.
No, okay. You can't. She's worse than probably any of your students.
Really?
I can tell you that much. And she would admit that fully, yes.
Okay. All right. I'm sure she's wonderful in many other things.
Lovely in every other aspect, just not the numbers.
Terrific. Pete, we've got Weekend Warriors. Let's talk about it. Saturday, our live show has been very popular. Ryan Anderson is hosting it. I will be on, as well as some other talent co-hosts. We're starting a little bit earlier because the stake races start earlier. We're going at 2:30 Eastern. And Pete, we will be on X. So, but
Nice.
again, we really prefer people watch on YouTube for a lot of reasons and check out our channel. But Weekend Warriors, 2:30 Eastern, live coverage from Churchill, Aqueduct, Santa Anita, much more. And Noah Maher, host of Pacific Horse Players and UK Senior, will be at Churchill Downs, Pete, just like I was for the
Nice.
Stephen Foster. So he will be there in the paddock, etc., with media credential in hand, schmoozing with all the owners and the trainers, maybe even talking to the horses. I don't know. He is in equine studies. I don't know if he talks horse or not. We'll have to find out on Saturday from young Mr. Maher. But anyway, he will be there at Churchill. So check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Weekend Warriors. And then also, as we mentioned, Power Pick Tip Sheet. Look below the video player for our standard Saturday Power Picks. ROI is still fantastic. And not only that, Pete, as I teased earlier, let me bring it up on the screen here. Just 1 second. We do have Keeneland only Power Picks. There it is, right above Pete on the top right-hand side of the screen.
It's this
Please, yep, you got it, Pete. There you go. Use your camera. Click right now on that QR code at the top right. That'll take you to information about our Keeneland only Power Pick Tip Sheet. You would receive that on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays during the Keeneland meet. It is profitable. It is inexpensive. It's fantastic. It's going to be written by myself, Paul Halloran, and Noah Maher on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So please check out that Power Tip Sheet. Again, you can go to our website, hhhracingpodcast.com, and click on Power Pick tab at the top. Or if you're watching and listening, well, if you're listening, you can't, but if you're watching, just hit that QR code with your camera, and it'll take you right to where you need to go. All right, Pete, 2 more races to cover. Belmont at Aqueduct. Let's do it right now. Let's go to race 8, my friend. Race 8 is the Gallant Bloom Stakes coming on screen right now. Grade 2, this is for the gals that are sprinting. $250,000, 6.5 furlongs. Interesting field, and I'm guessing this field will hold together for the most part. Field of 9, the morning line favorite in a wide open race is the rail horse, number 1, Our Disaster. Hopes not to live up to his name. Safi has got 2. He's also got the long shot Street View in here, the number 7. But Our Disaster, fast filly, breaking from the rail. Jose Ortiz 3-1. Let's see where we're going in this race as I bring it up right now. Race 8. We are different. I'm going 5-8-4. Pete's going 4-5-8. So we're different, but not that different.
Yeah.
Same 3. We are both tossing Our Disaster. Wow. Okay. We're tossing the morning line favorite. You're going with Scalable. Very interesting horse that I have looked at closely. I have in third, 6-1. Pletcher and Johnny V. Pete, coming back off a long layoff, you would assume pointed very much for this spot.
Yeah, the most important thing to me actually was, so we got the cutback last out. So this horse had been routing for 6 straight races, cut back in the last one, second start of the year. After in the first race going 1 1/8, was trying to chase a pretty slow pace and just couldn't get there, and ran okay coming off a little bit of a layoff. But then now goes to January, gets a nice win. And maybe the way I was thinking about it was, now you're a little worried about the break from January to here. But what I was wondering is, did this horse just come back better as a 4-year-old? And we always see that improvement from, not always, but we expect some sort of improvement from 3 to 4. So I looked at this horse and said, well, if there was a pretty sizable improvement, and from a figure standpoint, we got a lifetime buyer top, we got a lifetime time form top, first out after a decent race, maybe sprinting, and as a 4-year-old, this horse is just better. And again, we just don't know it yet, so that's not baked into the price. If that's the case, I think we could see another move forward from this one. And if so, I think as long as we get a little bit of pace to close into up front, and it's not like super slow where they just let the one go, which I don't think is going to happen, then I think this one might be on the improve. And if we can get this horse at a price here, maybe we're getting a little bit of a steal just because we don't know that she's as good as these horses yet.
They've got Our Disaster with, I believe that's Sensei Parole,
Yes.
stalking. I'll talk about Our Disaster in a minute. I think this pace can be pretty honest. I don't think it's going to be blazing, but I do think it's going to be pretty honest. And this field, by the way, the main reason I don't have this horse on top, well, two reasons. Number one is where's she been? I mean, I say point to this spot a little bit cheekily, Pete, because there's a meet called Saratoga that I'm sure that Pletcher and Rapoli would have liked to run at. So something happened here,
Yeah.
clearly. That's not good. But the fact that they're running her back in a relatively difficult spot here, and I believe this is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup, Philly and Mirror Sprint, which, by the way, is lining up to be a very good race, and she would have to really improve to be a factor in that race. I don't know where she's been, but I think there is quite a bit of speed, and I like the fact that she's turning back, and I think she has a chance to be live. This is a completely a board situation, Pete. If she's 3-1, look out. If
Yeah.
she's 6-1, I have zero interest in Scalable. Now, the horse that I like, that you like also, and I was hoping to get a little bigger morning line price, is Sterling Silver. She's a really good New York bred, Pete. The last two have not worked out well for her, and because of her dirtied up form, I think we might get an okay price. In the race two back at Saratoga, she just didn't break it all. She didn't break it all. It was a complete disaster. My Main Squeeze won for fun. And then they went long on turf. Like what? I didn't. I mean, I didn't understand that at all.
No.
This is a complete in Mott and Alvarado I trust situation, Pete. She's got a whole bunch of races on the go back, including open company races that are good enough to win this race for sure. She's been working well since, including a bullet work. And I just think that she's now in the right spot. If she breaks, she's going to sit mid pack and run a big race. I'm a little concerned that 6.5 is a little bit short for her. That is literally my only concern. I would be very surprised if she doesn't run big on Saturday.
I agree. I'm pretty much lockstep with everything you said, so not really too much to add. She's, like you said, even two back, where that was a weird race because my Main Squeeze just got on the lead and sort of crawled around the track a bit and kicked away. So I don't even mind that one as much. Like you said, the last one's a toss because I don't know what they were doing. This horse has now run twice on the turf and hasn't hit the board either time. So now you look at that race in the Ruffian, just 4 back, losing to Jody's Pride. There is some quality races here, lost to Ways and Means. So I think this one definitely fits. And again, the only thing you worry is she going to be a little too far back? But you're going to need the pace to at least be honest, like you said. And I think we both think it's going to be.
There's no Ways and Means in here. I mean, you've got my feeling with Our Disaster is, first of all, I think she's slow by the numbers, number one. Number two, I don't think she wants 6.5. I know she's run well going 6.5. I think she's much better going 6.
Yeah.
I will say this: she'll be on the lead. She is fast early. I don't, Impel's interesting, but I didn't like that last race that she won, to be very honest. I think Patricia Ann could be a little bit up close to the pace. All Class, who actually I would have liked last week at Parks, and scratches into this spot, which I don't think is that much easier. I'm not sure that she classes up despite her name. And then, Sensei Parole is the whole key of this race. I've got her second. I thought she was a cinch last time at 40 cents the dollar. She disappointed. She was unbelievable in her first start. She was a huge buzz horse after her win last year at Saratoga. Obviously, something went amiss, and she didn't run very well last time at all. She's going to be much better, but she's got questions to answer, Pete, and you've got her third. I've got her second. Number one, can she get back to her race from last year? Number two, she's got to sit off a fast pace and go by a very game older horse. And number three, she's got to get 6.5. So as much as I like this horse and her potential, she's got some questions to answer here.
Yeah, she's a weird one because, I mean, even going into that last race, everybody was like, oh, wow, Sensei Parole, he's coming back. And everybody was so hyped for it. And you looked in the lane and she started to kick away for a bit. And you're like, oh, man, she's back. And then that whole Roswell just started cutting into the lead and ran her down. And you're like, holy shit, what the hell happened there?
Yeah.
What are we have? And then the figure comes back pretty light. And so you look at it and go, do you just completely excuse it? Because you just say, look, it was a year off, maybe moved a little too much, or maybe kicked away a little too quick or something. Or is she just not as good? We've seen horses at 2 run so much better and they come back at 3 and they're just not as good and haven't improved. And if she hasn't, maybe she takes money and is just not that good. But I guess it's going to be tough. We won't know until this is one of those you're not going to know till after, unfortunately.
Well, Pete, here's the thing. I feel about this horse the same way that I, feel about the previous runner I mentioned, Locked. Look, when you've got a horse like Locked and Sensei Parole, and you got Chad and Todd, they're not sending these horses in this race thinking the horses are going to be short or can't win. These are very, very talented horses. So I think she is very talented, and she could run a huge race. It's just from a betting standpoint, I wouldn't want to take too low a price on her, but I have to use her in my exotics, Pete, because on pure talent, she might be the most talented horse in this race, despite what happened last time. And I just don't think Chad would throw her in here if he didn't think that she, could compete in the Breeders' Cup filling mare sprint. I mean, so I think she's a serious horse. I think she needed that last start. I think she sits right off of Our Disaster. And depending on how much resistance Our Disaster gives, Pete, will determine the fate of Sensei Parole. And as an Italian horse, I know she's going to take some money, right? She'll take some money from the New York faithful and all the Italians out there.
You got to love that. And the field didn't come up. Like, there's nobody in here that is super scary. I mean, the horses we're talking about are fine horses, but nothing crazy. So if she does get back to what she was, then yeah. I mean, we want to see her, right? I mean, you get a horse like that everybody's hyped up about. You don't want to see her disappoint and go the wrong way.
Chris Couples, who also might be on the show, thinks Our Disaster is gone. The loose part, Chris, I agree with. The gone, we'll see. I disagree with Chris on that, but Our Disaster is good. We might be underestimating her. Pete, I thought it was a tricky race, and you know what's also a tricky race? This last one that we're going to talk about, and this is a good one. It's the Vosburgh. It's the last race we're going to talk about today. This is also, I shouldn't say, I host fail. This is usually a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. I'll have to look that up. People look that up as I'm getting up on the screen. Race 9, 4:41 Eastern. Nice field of 9, $200,000 going 7 furlongs is the purse. Morning favorite is a horse that I tipped out, as did Paul last time, and ran a huge race. And that was Scotland, 5-2, losing to why am I drawing a blank? The Bookham Damo. Sorry, Bookham Dano.
Yep. Sorry.
Scotland is now the favorite though, and was like 14-1 or 12-1 or something like that last time. Now he's 5-2 with Mott and Alvarado from the rail. Let's see where we're going in the Vosburgh. I'm going 2-9-8, and Pete is going with Scotland. He's going 1-8-9. So we do have two of the same 3 horses. This is a really solid race. It shouldn't be a grade 3. Don't get me started. I'm glad our good friend Paul's not on, because the Vosburgh used to be a grade 1 and one of the major sprint races of the year, along with the Vanderbilt on the East Coast. And now it's a grade 3 and sort of an afterthought in terms of the graded stakes committee, which I respectfully disagree with. And I know Andy Serling would disagree with that also. Talk about Scotland, Pete. Scotland, again, ran huge last time at a price there was 12-1 losing to Bookham Dano with almost a career buyer top. It's going to have to run a big race again from the rail, going 7 panels.
Yeah, and this isn't winning you're in, by the way. So you were correct about that. So yeah, this is one. Yeah, I think we talked about this horse a lot because like you mentioned, some of the folks were on Scotland last out, and that came through nicely at almost 12-1. But we're only talking about the horse's 3rd start of the year. Got a late start, didn't start the year until July. Came back and was on a muddy track. Ran okay, ran a nice solid 3rd comeback. And then last week was just ran sort of a monster race, was never beaten Bookham Dano. I mean, Bookham Dano is just better than pretty much everybody on the sprint division, especially the older sprint division, I should say. And again, this could be just one of those horses who's just finding his form and his best form as a 5-year-old. And if he does, then I think the concern would only be, okay, he generally is one of those horses who leaves himself a little too much to do. It's hard to trust those horses on the win end, and you get disappointed way too often where he runs a big race, but it's not enough to win the race. Like you said, now you're taking 5-2 on a horse like that. it's not to me, it's not the most definitive proposition in the world. But I think talent-wise and off that last race, I think you have to consider him. You have to include him if you're playing sort of horizontals. But he can get beat, especially on the rail. He gets shuffled a bit, gets a little bit of a tougher trip. Then I think that's the concern.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't have him in the top 3, not because he's not talented enough, just because the price is not going to be right. I last time was the time for me, Pete, on Scotland. So I'm just not. I'll throw him in my horizontals, but I'm not going to put him in the top 3. Now I want to show this stretch run of the Forgo, Pete, because there's 3 horses that are here on this replay that are running in the Vosburgh, and they're all coming from behind. You're going to see them in the background. Let me go ahead and go back to here for a second. Scotland's the 8, Crazy Mason's the 6, and Doc Sullivan, they're all running on Saturday. The 6, 8, and 11. If you look, the 6, 8, and 11 are all, if you look at the chicklets here at the bottom of the screen, Pete, for those of you that are watching the video, they're all coming from behind. So that's why I'm slightly negative. I thought this race didn't really hold together. It was starting to fall apart at the end, which is why I'm against the closers that came out of this race. I think it makes them look a little bit better. I'm going to let it run through. Again, the 6, 8, and 11 all come from behind. Here's Scotland in the yellow. Crazy Mason's in the red, I believe here. No, that's the 11. Here's Crazy Mason in the green, and here's the 11 right there. Again, they're all coming out of this race. They're all running. You can see it's sort of clumped together. Here's the 3 horses right here. Scotland, Crazy Mason, and then the 11. So that's Doc Sullivan. That's why I'm a little bit against these horses. That being said, I suppose all of them can win. Scotland probably the most likely winner of those 3. Let's take a look at the pace of this race, at least the pace projector, Pete, as I bring that up on the screen, courtesy of DRF. Excuse me. I've been doing something called working and teaching and podcasting all week. They've got the 3 on the lead. They've got the 8 sitting off. They've got Nash sitting right off the lead, Pete. Most importantly, they have it relatively clumped together early, but not a fast pace. That is according to the Timeform pace projector. That's part of the reason why I like Nash. Nash is a weird horse, Pete. This horse is very inconsistent, but I'll tell you what, when he's good, he's very good. And I just think his best are better than anyone in here. And I'm expecting him to run a big race. Cox is pointing to here. It's Flavian. If he breaks, he's not going to be that far back. Yes, I am slightly, this is 6 furlongs, right? Oh, it's 7. Slightly concerned about the 7. That is a slight concern, but he has gone longer than 6 before. It's a soft pick on my part. 6-1, Cox and Flavian. I'll take that for sure. He's got a break. I like Nash. I think he's interesting here.
Yeah, actually, funny. I actually liked him last out, and he was pretty disappointing. So I did not.
No bueno.
Yeah, that did not. I mean, he was pinched at the start. He was probably further back. I mean, this isn't a horse that wants to be coming from the back. This is a horse that wants to sit, second, third, fourth, somewhere in that vicinity. And I think, like you said, since there isn't a ton of pace, and I don't think the pace, I don't think Super Chow really is a win contender necessarily. So we do have maybe a soft lead. And like you said, I think the one thing I like about your pick there is most likely Nash is going to at least get the jump on Crazy Mason and Scotland. And obviously Doc Sullivan too, which is why, who we'll talk about in a second, I think Patriot Spirit is a horse who I think could be the one that is a little better than Nash and is a little more consistent than Nash lately. Then maybe Patriot Spirit is in a similar boat, where it's Patriot Spirit and Nash are the ones that sort of attack Super Chow, get on the lead, and then see if Scotland and Doc Sullivan and Crazy Mason can run them 2 down.
The Illinois Derby champ, Patriot Spirit, who I was there in person that day for a contest on April 21st of 24. You know what, Pete? I almost put him on top. He's underrated, Pete. He gets like no respect in the windows. I mean, I know he was favored last time. That was the first time he was really favored in a while. Michael Campbell is a very good Midwest trainer, a Chicago guy. He's only 3 for 29 this year, but some of that's because he's got a small stable. So, but he runs at Oaklawn. I mean, he picks tough spots. This horse should sit a great trip. I think he's got a shot. I almost put him in second. I even consider him on top. I'm not sure about his class, Pete, but we're going to see in Crazy Mason, who I have faded many times, especially since the Carter, and have been correct. I actually like him a little more, mainly because I think he's pretty classy. This field is much softer. He's been in grade ones. There's not a grade one field, and there could be, that's a big could be, some hitting up front. We'll see. I don't think it has to be a crazy pace, pun intended, for Crazy Mason to win. This is a cool horse, but he does need a setup, Pete, and he needs everything to go his way. But I think he classes up, and this is just a better spot than the races he's been in lately.
Yeah, no, I think he's almost a worse version of Scotland in the sense that he just leaves himself even more to do than Scotland does. But if you look at it, those 7 furlong races, I mean, the last one, he was coming late and he was just way too far back. I mean, you don't want to be last against that field, but he was closing pretty well late, and you see he won the Carter going 7, and he's 3 for 4. He's got 3 of his 4 wins. I mean, 3 of his 5 wins overall, but he's 3 for 4 at Aqueduct. And you see he had that nice little stretch back in January or February of this year, which led to the Carter. He won 3 straight here, and he was really improving. Then he was off for a little bit, comes back, loses to Bookham Dano and Mulligan, which obviously is nothing to sneeze at, and then goes to the Bing Crosby. 6 maybe in the Bing Crosby, a little short, way too far back in that race, and then ran really well in the 4-go. So I like this horse. It's hard to take a low price on a horse that you know is going to be closing from most likely dead last. It's always tough.
What price do you think I'm going to get at Nash at post time, Pete? He's 6-1 morning line.
I would say probably Nash. I would say you're probably around there. I would say 5, 6.
Really?
Yeah, no, probably lower because of Pratt. No, never mind.
I was thinking more like 4-1.
Yeah, never mind. I forgot about Pratt. Maybe
I'd
9 to 2.
That,
maybe 9 to 2 you can get, because there's no way Scotland's not taking money. Oh, you're probably actually. I don't know, because Patriot Spirit might not take much. Crazy Mason is a horse that doesn't. He closes, maybe people don't like that horse as much on the win end. So I don't know. This is a weird one, odds-wise.
I think Scotland will be the favorite, but I don't think Nash is going to be that far behind. I'm feeling like a 5.
Now that I'm looking at it, you're probably
5-2, 7-2 kind of feel for me, but we're going to see, Pete. It's going to be really interesting.
In the end, Baby Yoda just winds up running one of his weird races.
Well, if I don't mention Baby Yoda, he's going to win for fun.
Yeah, we had to mention
maybe mentioning him. Well, now this is not his track, Pete. Remember, his track is Saratoga, right?
Although he does have a 102, and he is 6 for 9 here, but so.
I've talked about this horse a lot over the years. Every time he gets in a big stake race, he doesn't run well.
No.
These allowance races, he's unbelievable for whatever reason. So I don't like him at all here, but I don't know. Falcone takes over. It's Flying P stable. I mean, they'll be loud in the winner's circle if Baby Yoda wins. I just don't see it happening, but he's got races on the go back, Pete, that are good enough. And the Breeders' Cup Sprint looks like it could be a nice race, especially if Bookham Dano goes. If he doesn't, that really opens it up for others. But Ben Tornado, I think right now would be my top pick, even if Bookham Dano's in there. I think Ben Tornado is a
because you figure he's going to be better second off.
Yep.
And he was awesome in that race.
Let's go to our best bets. We'll wrap up the show, Pete. Let me take that off the screen. You're going to go to race 8, and you're going to go with a win bet on the 4. That's Scalable, I believe. And then you're going to play Scalable into the 189.
Yeah, this was one. These races, there's a lot of chalk in some of the races in the smaller fields. So there wasn't a great one for best bets, but I figure at least that one is a half decent price. And then again, going into our last 3 that we just talked about, if I can get Scalable at a decent price and then I don't think anybody's going to be super low here. So I figure the doubles will pay decent enough where you could spread it out a little bit. But, you look at the board, see how the prices are.
And real quick, while we have hundreds of people watching, again, Weekend Wars live show this Saturday, 2:30 Eastern. Check us out. Big time racing. You watch us in between the holes at Ryder Cup. And if you're a golf fan, they put out the pairings for tomorrow morning Friday morning. That opening pairing, if you're a golf fan, oh my.
Who is it? I didn't see.
It's Terrell Hatton, who's a complete maniac, and John Rahm, 2 hothead, really, really talented Euros against Bryson DeChambeau and Justin Thomas. Oh my. There are going to be fireworks at, get this, Pete, 7:10 Eastern, a.m. Eastern is first tee for the Ryder Cup. set your alarm anyway. The Ryder Cup will be going on all weekend, but you can watch a little golf and then switch over to our show and watch us talk about the fantastic racing that will be happening. And then, of course, we also, one more time, Keeneland only power pick tip sheet. Top right-hand corner there above Pete. Use your camera. There's the QR code for it. Find out information. Keeneland starts next Friday, ladies and gentlemen, and we have power pick tip sheets for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of Keeneland. It's very inexpensive tip sheet. It's very profitable. We're going to find winners for you. Let's go with my best bets right now. I'm going to play a pick 3, Pete. A pick 3, and I just realized I screwed that up because I can't do that because I'm going 6, 8, 9. I am a complete moron. Okay, well, if there was a pick 3, I'll tell you what, Pete. Let's just switch this to it. I don't know what I was thinking.
How about all in the 7th? You could do a pick 4. Actually,
well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to switch this on the fly right now. Give me a second. Well, that was that was one of my worst host fails I've had in a while. Let's do a double. How about that? Let's do a double in race 8, Pete. I'm going to do a double. There we go. It's not 24 for $4. It's going to be 6 times. Actually, yeah, it still is. I'm singling. Okay, math teacher. Hello. I'm going to go do a double, Pete, in race 8. I'm going to go 5, 8. That is Sterling Silver and Patriot Spirit.
Patriot Spirit.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Yep.
No.
Wait.
No, it's not.
What race?
Senze Parole.
Yes.
Parole.
Sorry. Patriot
That is
Spirit's in the 9th.
Sterling Silver and Senze Parole. Say that 10 times fast. Into Nash, Patriot Spirit, and Crazy Mason. There you go. I'm gonna do it. It's $6 for $1. I'll do a $4 multiplier. So I'll play that double, $4 double for $24. I think it can pay, Pete, because those are 2 wide open races. In fact, as you said very astutely, as Paul would like to say, those are probably the 2 most wide open races that we've covered, right? So yeah. I think race 8 to race 9 is a really good double for everyone there at home to play at Aqueduct. Baby got back with a Q on Saturday in Queens,
by the way, real
New
quick,
York.
You didn't mention we didn't cover it, but the 5th through the 9th is also a pick 5. I know we didn't talk about the 7th, but if you don't want to play the late pick 5 with only 2, the 5th starting in the Joe Hirsch, and the 6th, and then the 7th is a maiden special weight. So that's a tough little middle pick 5. Although you have to make some decisions, right? That's a tough one. Like, what do you do in the turf race? Do you take one of those 3 horses? Do you take 2 of the 3? Something like that. And then same thing with sort of Locked and Phileas Fogg. If you're playing that middle pick 5, that's always a tough call to make.
Yeah, that is true. I'm probably going to skip that. That turf race is just, I mean, we're covering it, but doesn't mean I have to bet it. I don't have to bet every race. I know people are shocked at home.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not betting a race? Yes. I pick my spots too. Juan Ramos, this racing is so exciting. Yeah, Juan, this is, I mentioned, I'm going to end with, he's going to be there in person. What's up? All right, Juan, say wait from the rail. Have a lot of fun. That'll be cool. Let me see here. Pete, you guys talked about some merch logo. What's that about?
It was I'm blanking. Tom sent me a DM. I'm blanking on the exact phrase. It was something like, excuse my language, everyone, fucking hit that horse, or something that you said on the live show when you were trying to run down, I think, Bucarino. So he thought it was fucking.
That had a little contest. That had a little.
Fucking hit the horse from Howard. There you go. So
that a little contest right behind it. Like,
yeah,
Sias was not. Who was the horse? Damon's Mound. He was like handwriting in the stretch when he was battling for second, and I needed him for second. He wasn't really giving it his all. I don't know, Tom. I was just disappointed. Last thing we should mention. A few people mentioned this in the chat, Pete. How about not that? My bad. Hold on a second. How about in the first race, Pete, on Saturday? 5 million? What? A Whisper Hill Farm, first time starter. Look at this breeding. A Curlin colt out of Cavorting. Who's Cavorting? Cavorting is Clarier's mom. So this is a full to Clarier. This is a 2-year-old colt that is a
Clarier.
Full to Clarier. Costs a ridiculous $5 million. And not only that, Pete, in the first race on Saturday, while I'm mentioning it, there's 2 nice Chads too, a 700K and a 1.2 million K horse. So with Pratt and Dylan Davis for Chad, that first race, Pete, on Saturday at Aqueduct, we might see a future Derby horse in not necessarily a Derby winner, but that looked like on paper at least could be a loaded 2-year-old race. Or for those of you that go way back, it could be a Green Monkey race. And if you know the reference. The Green Monkey cost some ridiculous amount of money and didn't turn out to be very good. Pete, final thoughts on Saturday. There's great racing throughout the country. I mentioned to Paul, you got to watch these races, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to bet them, but you got to watch them if you have any interest in the Breeders' Cup in 5 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. We're in crunch time right now, so this is the last chance we're going to get to see a lot of these horses. The ones who go to the Breeders' Cup, this is our last chance to see them. So we hope they all run well. We hope for everything we always hope for. We hope for clean, safe racing and no stupid betting anomalies or something that people complain about. Let's just see some good races, and we want to see the good horses perform well going into the Breeders' Cup. But let's not. I was curious. The only reason I'm upset that Paul's here, aside from that I always love seeing my friend Paul on the screen, is there was a couple of fun things this week that I wasn't sure what his rant was going to be about. So maybe I don't know. Yeah, we'll save that for next week. But there was a couple interesting little tidbits in the racing world this week.
I love this guy to my right because he's all like nice and friendly on the show. I hope all the horses run well. You should see our group chat, ladies and gentlemen. When Pete Visco's horses don't run well, I'm not sure he feels the same, but he has a wager on a horse.
I don't want them to fall down, but I want mine to win. Come on, man. I mean,
he knows what I'm talking about.
I'm looking at that horse courting, by the way. Do you think if you spend $5 million, you wish your morning line was maybe a little lower than 3? You're like, man, why spend $5 million? Are we not going to win first out when I drop?
Pete, I gotta be honest. I don't think the connections give a rat's what morning line he is. Anyway, that first race is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
All right, Pete. Great show. Appreciate it again. Appreciate everyone that has been watching on Axe. Our shows now are back on Axe. But again, we would really appreciate if you watch them on YouTube. We get monetized on YouTube. We have all of our shows are on there. We have features. We have a lot of things. And so we really would appreciate if you watched on on YouTube if you have a choice.
And you can join the chat on YouTube, we have a great chat. Yes.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, PM, do something a little bit different for as we end the show. We wish everyone a lot of luck and success at New York. And instead of saying it, Pete, let's make sure you do this on Saturday. That's what we want you to do on Saturday. And if you're listening on audio, I just put on our big crush sign. Crush your bets this Saturday at Aqueduct. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.